forgot to start the recording. This is an in-process reading of my play, which will be going up next term, 9th week. There will be auditions 10th week of this term. Just plugging that slightly. Let me see. Nothing else to say. Yeah, audience members, thank you for being here. If you could mute yourself and turn off your videos and place Zoom in speaker view, that will be the best viewing experience we've devised thus far. Yeah, the performance will run approximately an hour to an hour 10, depending on how fast these people read. And there will be an optional talk back afterwards, of which we'd love to hear your comments, questions, concerns, which name you liked best. Seriously, I'm very indecisive. And yeah, and if you can't stay or think of something at like 3 o'clock in the morning, my email is always open, my Carlton one. Or if you just see me around campus, throw something at me, I don't know. And yeah, with that, I'm going to turn this over to Will Joswitz, my lovely director, and the performers who occasionally annoy me.
Okay. Hi, my name is Will Joswitz. I helped Tom direct this, and I'm going to be reading the stage directions and everything for this show. I will be having my video off too, so you'll just hear my voice every now and then. And we are going to dive right into it. So as Tom said, turn off your video, mute yourself, and put it on speaker view. All right. If I Should Die, or The Lost Generation, or Commonplace, or Eulogies, or A Cold Eye, a full-length play by Thomas Teeter. Cast of characters. Raise your hand whenever you're called. The brother, late 20s or early 30s, a young college professor. Ghost, a young college student preoccupied with grand concepts and philosophy, but young, cheerful, and bright. The fiancé, same age as the brother, an accountant. Voices, the fiancé, pastor, the other, the girl, heard but never seen. Setting. The story takes place in two distinct settings, both represented on stage at the same time. The first and perhaps most central is an old home filled with the odds and ends of a full life. The home probably hasn't been cleaned in a while. The family lived here their whole lives, so the sorting through of material goods that occurs with moving and shuffling around never occurs. The important things and the ephemera are mixed together. The second setting is a much more abstract and neutral space, liminal, deconstructed, a purgatory of sorts, existing outside of time and space. During transitions, stagehands in street clothes enter and pack up a bit of the set into boxes. Slowly, boxes take over the stage. By the end of the play, the two worlds of the play should almost mirror each other in their bareness. Ideally, the audience would enter through the set, being allowed to look through the house and the objects, allowing an exploration of the space without the constraints of the narrative. Perhaps the ghost mixes in with them. Act 1, Arrival. On burials. The ghost is heard projected. After several beats, he appears, half listening to himself speak. He's disconcerted and trying to get his bearings. Failing this, he gets out his cigarettes and lights up. He looks at something on the fourth wall, as yet unknown to the audience.
Dear brother, I visited our uncle's grave today with Mom. Odd sight. They haven't put in the headstone yet. It was just earth. I always thought that was part of the burial. Somehow immediate. We were just standing over this patch of earth, so nondescript. If I hadn't been with Mom, I wouldn't have known where to stand, where to pray. I pray now. A headstone gives you direction. Here lies someone. Logically, you know the coffin extends beyond the headstone. And to read the text, you have to stand on a coffin, on a corpse, on a soul. But you don't think about that when there's a headstone. I hate headstones. They take up so much space and say so little. Here lies a name. They existed from one date to another. Even trying to get personal becomes formulaic. Son, daughter, loving husband, adoring wife, father, mother. The cycle of life, nothing more. If I should die, take note, brother. I should not like a tombstone. Nothing so blasé. I think I should quite like to be burned to ash and entombed in a statue. Not like an angel or a reaper or something you would expect to see in a graveyard. Model it after the Greek gods. Make it something that would make people stop as they pass and say, well, there lies a unique individual. That's not too much to ask, is it?
The ghost puts out his cigarette, looks around again, has a coughing fit, is doubled over in pain, vomits a clear fluid. Bad habits. As the ghost recovers, the brother enters the house, hauling luggage. He sets it down, looks around.
It's just me now. Once on an uncertain morning, I got up from my bed, put on a suit and tie, and left to bury my brother. It was a hot day. I remember that. It was stifling. That kind of heat that stops you thinking. The whole affair was well attended, though. Everyone could recognize the tragedy of losing someone so young. Not the same when someone passes at the appointed time. Causes aside. Cancer gets a good turnout. Anything horrifying, but nothing compares to that loss of potential.
Bad habit. Sorry.
He takes a drag.
Have you ever noticed how no one smokes anymore? Well, they still smoke. They just won't admit it. It's lost its allure. It's not sexy anymore. I remember when you could smoke anywhere? With your lunch, at work, at school, in the theater. It feels like ancient history, but it wasn't that long ago. Picture someone smoking in a restaurant. You're thinking of the 1950s. You're thinking of some Mad Men character. It's a lie. It's a conscious attempt to distance yourself from some perceived ugly truth of society, staring back at you a little too close.
Something strange happened, though. Standing there at the grave of my younger brother, I felt unalone. As if, and I know this sounds crazy, as if my brother was with me somehow. It was very comforting. I wish I felt that way today. I could have used that.
Anyway, the point of all this is it was a social time. Everyone crowded together, giving each other lights, the smoke making everything hazy. Today, everything's a little cleaner, a little further away. All that dirtiness, that uncivil good time is swept under the rug, into the alleyway, far away from anyone's dinners. Well, to each their own vices, and society be damned. Society really should be damned. Picking what's acceptable and what's horrifically unspeakable, seemingly on a whim, and it's all. Sorry. Don't mean to seem bitter. Just remember that one bit about everything being too clean and tidy.
Interruption 1. Ghost stamps out his cigarette and leaves. Brother is left alone on stage. He looks around, trying to find his bearings. He exits into the house. His phone rings, loud enough to be alarming. He answers.
Hey, babe.
Hey, how's everything going?
Good. I just got in.
How was the drive?
Fine.
The department sent over some flowers.
That's good of them.
Morris called as well. Told you to take all the time you need. Not to worry about next semester. James?
Yeah.
You there?
Yeah. I'm here.
Did you hear what I said?
Yeah. I'll call Morris later. I don't think this is going to take long.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Totally. I mean, it's just logistics at this point. The funeral is later this week. After that, it's just packing up the house and then I can get out of here.
James.
What?
Nothing.
I'll be back for the next semester.
What?
I have a job. I'm going to continue doing that job.
Of course.
Listen, I'm tired. I'll call you tomorrow, all right?
You sure?
Yeah.
All right. Love you.
Love you. Bye.
He shuts off his phone. Time passes. Eulogy. The next day. The neutral space, now a church office. Priest's voice comes in.
Mr. Fitzroy,
Father.
please have a seat. Let me be the first to say how sorry I am about your brother, parents.
Thank you.
They really were fine people. I actually hadn't known them long at the time of the accident. I'm new to the parish, but they immediately struck me as outstanding citizens. Now, about the funeral.
Yes?
Did they leave any instructions, any particulars they wanted as part of the service?
Not really. They just said a traditional funeral. Is that a problem?
Not at all. We can take care of everything. Tradition is sort of our thing.
Great.
Will other family be there?
I don't know. I haven't heard. Maybe my aunt?
Is she in the church?
I really wouldn't know.
It's just if you want a family member to do a reading.
I can't?
You're not Catholic.
No.
It's a rule.
Why?
It's just doctrine. I'm sorry.
Of course.
Do you have any stories or personal remembrances you'd like to share? For the service.
I don't.
It's all right.
Me and my parents, we didn't really.
It's fine. More common than you'd think.
All right. Is there anything else?
That's about it for the business.
Great.
How are you coping with it all?
Fine. Really. oddly fine. You don't want to hear about it from me, though. You've got a whole flock to manage.
It's my job.
To what?
Listen,
What a pair we make. I'm a teacher. It's my job to flock. I'm afraid I'm going to have to disappoint us both. I'll see you at the funeral, Father.
Returning home. Brother returns to the house, frustrated. Looking around at the mess, he resolves to clean and pack things away. Ghost appears in the neutral space. He enters one side, looks around, exits the other. He reappears again, seemingly navigationally challenged.
hello,
Hello. What's your name?
Frederick.
It's a nice name.
Thank you.
Where are you from?
Pennsylvania.
I hear it's lovely there. But what are you doing here?
Just passing through, I think. There's somewhere I have to go. I just haven't found where yet.
I'm sorry.
Don't be. I'm enjoying the journey.
How long have you been dead?
72 years.
It's an awfully long time.
It's all right. I enjoy the passing of it.
Where are you going to go now?
East, I think. It feels right.
All right. Good luck. It's a strange thing to meet a ghost. Your first impulse is to talk to them like a child or a grandparent, or that strange point where the two become indistinguishable. The other is to ask them how they died, which is really less informative than you would think. I mean, you don't talk about dead people in terms of their death, so when you talk to them, why is it always the big question? It's ancillary 90% of the time. Ironically, I suppose, you have to focus on life. Did they have a partner? Children? What was important to them? What ended up defining their short time on this earth? I'm dead, by the way. You should know that. I died 8 years ago. I was 20. It was spring, a week before my break, April, March. It's not important. God. Here I am talking about death. It's not important. Accident. That's all. It was nothing spectacular. What's important is how I lived, especially considering how little time I ended up having. And I had a real appetite for it, too. I wanted to see everything, meet every exciting person. I wanted to know everything in that adolescent way. I changed my major like 3 times and was still on track for 2 minors when I always took as many credits as the registrar would physically let me. I don't know. Maybe it's better this way. To be cut off, going full steam rather than let down slowly over so many decades. I don't think about it much. I suppose you're wondering why I'm here. My parents died, you see. That doesn't call you home, I don't know what would. Anyway, this is my home. My familial estate.
He enters the house. The brother doesn't notice. The ghost takes an interest in his brother. A silent reunion. It's interrupted by the brother's phone. Interruption 2. The brother answers, continuing to look through things as he sorts. The ghost re-enters at points in this conversation, observing.
Hey,
Hey,
How's it going?
Fine. Fine.
You sure?
This house is full of shit.
What?
I've told you this. I don't think my parents threw out a single damn thing that didn't absolutely need to be thrown away. Like, seriously. Old newspapers, wrapping paper.
James.
They had two of everything, too. Pots, pans, every type of clothing item. They just have so much. You know how you always got on me for not having things? This is why.
It's going well, then.
I'm getting through it. I'm meeting the real estate guy later. We should figure most of it out then. How are things with you?
Oh, fine. Business as usual. It's strange not having you here. How is it being home?
I haven't stayed here for more than 2 weeks in a decade.
But still,
I don't know. My parents are dead. It's just the house now.
your childhood home.
Not really. I never really liked the house. It was always too big, especially after.
The ghost notices this. He knocks a picture down, startling his brother.
What's wrong?
Nothing. Something just fell over.
That's weird.
Yeah, I should go. What?
I didn't say anything.
You had a look.
It's just, you've been saying that a lot recently.
What?
I should go.
I've had a lot going on.
I know. And no, I wouldn't bring it up if it didn't seem like every time you said that you were holding something back.
What?
I don't know. There's something you're holding back, and I can't know what that is unless you tell me.
It's so much more complicated than that, though.
See, I don't know what that means.
Oh, I mean, listen, can we just table this until we're face to face?
Seriously?
Yes. I mean, no, it's not like that. It's just, these are things I need to tell you, but I can't tell you over the phone. And I don't know if that makes sense, but.
James.
He hangs up. The ghost and the brother consider the implications of that action.
Fuck.
Asshole.
He knocks another thing over in protest. The brother reacts again.
Theo?
Not the response the ghost or the brother expected. Both react to the outcry. The brother storms off. The ghost escapes the house into the neutral space.
He's not ready yet. He's not ready yet. I don't know what that was about. It's strange, really. People all process grief in their own way, so guess it makes sense. Reaching out to past. He's not ready yet.
The ghost storms off opposite his brother. At rest, the day of the funeral, brother enters in a suit. In voiceover, the father and brother at Theo's funeral.
How do you feel?
I imagine somewhat similar to sausage just after it's been cased.
Nonsense. A suit like that makes a man out of boys. It makes you look the proper part. Now come over here and look in the mirror. I'll teach you how to tie that tie.
The ghost has appeared to the side. The brother is making a last-minute check he has everything he needs. Brother begins to leave, moving from the house to the neutral space. The ghost follows him partway, but can't find it in him to leave the house. Graveside. Brother in the neutral space, trying to look solemn, partially in act. Maybe some sort of service being read softly in the background. Girl's voice comes in.
James!
Sally? Oh my God, I haven't seen you in years. How have you been?
Fine.
Still in town?
Well, a couple things have tied me down here.
Oh, you're not. Are you?
Twins.
Congratulations. Sorry, I was.
It's all right. I understand. So they're really gone.
Yeah.
That's insane. I can't imagine this place without them.
Yeah.
Can I ask,
What?
when did they arrange to get buried?
Yeah. When he died, they bought a family plot.
Oh,
I know. Deciding where to get buried, right then and there. I suppose there was something poetic about it to them.
I can't imagine.
Me neither, which is funny.
Why?
There's one place left, which they neglected to ever tell me.
For you?
Uh-huh.
I think about him. Still. Sometimes.
I wondered.
She exits. It isn't really represented. Brother stares down at the grave, turns and exits without pomp. Time passes. Cleaning. The brother sorts through a box of old documents, probably tax related. It's draining and goes on for a little while, maybe while the crew strips the stage of some of its props. Something is at the bottom of the box. Further investigation finds a bottle of whiskey. Surprised and bemused, the brother takes the bottle and pours himself a glass. As he pours, flashback.
No, I'm sorry. Actually, no. You know what? I'm not actually sorry. We just sat there for like 35 minutes talking about the finer points of kitchen decoration, and by about minute 15, I really just wanted to scream. I mean, God, it's mundane to an extreme degree. What?
Listen, I'm only going to say this once. The type of life you're leading right now, in college, where everyone is intellectually stimulating and open and wanting to have deep conversations all the time, it doesn't last. And that's okay. But listen, that mundanity you're choosing to make fun of, publicly, that is my life. That is how I've chosen to live it. And maybe someday it won't seem so bad to you either.
I'm not coming home for winter break.
What?
I'm going to stay on campus, do research with a professor.
You can't do that remotely.
No,
You don't want to see your family, your grandparents.
there will always be other holidays.
They won't be around forever.
I know.
And I know your brother would want to see you.
No, I'm pretty sure he'll want to spend time with his friends, like always. Does he even live in this house anymore? I never fucking see him. Do you? Look, by the end of the year, I'll have my name in journals. That's big. Bigger than another Christmas, the same as all the others.
The flashback breaks. The ghost is back. They sit opposite each other on the furniture.
You know, stewing never really suited you.
The brothers see each other.
Theo,
Hey,
you're here.
they're really gone.
Yeah.
I heard, I felt I knew it. Somehow. So here I am.
Were you at the funeral?
No,
I thought.
I know. A lot of people have that sort of thing. Was the service nice?
Lord, I don't know. I planned it the best I could.
Nah. Tells me everything I need to know.
You. So, are you back?
Until time immemorial? Lord, I don't know. You aren't handed an instruction manual when you die. Just sorta happens. Here now. Is that enough?
Yes.
Good. So how are you?
Well,
I suppose this is poor timing. How have you been?
good, honestly. Good, other than these last few weeks. Life has been working out for me.
Still in town?
No, I work in a college up north.
Teaching?
Yeah, classics.
You always wanted to teach.
Yeah, it's good. I'm tenure tracked. Not tenure, but it's a start.
You're what, 27?
29.
It's good. So what are you doing?
Cleaning. They left it in a state, you know. Was it always this messy?
Yes. You were just used to it.
Well, several years of cramped apartments have clearly gotten me unused to it.
How did it happen?
Mom had been declining for a while. She had a stroke 8 months back, and cognitive decline from there. Dad was real close to putting her in a home, but it got to the point where it was clear that the decline was accelerating and there wasn't really any point. And then after that, I don't know, Dad just didn't have the heart to keep on going. A week later, he went to bed and just didn't wake up.
Sounds peaceful.
Yeah. Doctors are good at making it sound that way.
How was the funeral?
Fine.
Give a good speech?
I didn't speak.
What?
I didn't speak.
What? Did you give a reading or?
Couldn't. Not Catholic.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
You were baptized.
Wasn't confirmed.
That's a detail. You could have lied.
I think that goes against the principle of the whole thing. Besides, what does it matter?
It was their funeral.
They weren't there. And besides, they were the last people in this goddamn town I ever needed to justify myself to. If other people talk, let them. It won't matter.
And what's going to happen to all this?
What do you mean?
All their things.
Got rid of, mostly. I mean, it's junk.
And the house?
I'm selling it.
What?
What? What else am I supposed to do with it?
It's your childhood home.
It's your childhood home. We didn't move here till I was like 9.
You grew up here.
It's just a house. It's not like living in it imbued it with value somehow.
That's exactly what it means.
You know, I don't live here. I don't live anywhere near here. Wait, why in the world would I keep this place? What? Keep it as a vacation home? Drive 12 hours each weekend to this massive, empty house. To what? Watch the corn grow?
It's good looking corn.
It is, but that's not the point.
I don't get it.
It just doesn't make sense. I can't afford it. I don't need it. Stop being so sentimental.
I'm not sentimental.
You're the most sentimental person I've ever met. Grow up.
The ghost doesn't seem angry, but the brother can no longer see him.
Theo? Theo?
The scene shifts. Continuation. The next day, the brother still sorting, the ghost sulking, still unseen.
You're angry at me. Listen, I understand how it feels. Losing that concrete sense of a place. That idea of home that you can tie to a place. A physical location. That gets broken after college. You just never made it that far.
He finds a box of old yearbooks, flips through them.
God. The yearbooks. You know, I always hated these. Much more your speed, weren't they? The most sentimental piece of... Weren't you voted one of the superlatives? Most likely to succeed or something?
Most likely to be elected president.
A moment of recognition that he's back from the brother.
Much more your style.
More based on charm than success.
You would have made a good politician.
Suits me.
Does. You were always the one with potential.
Oh, please. You were the smart one. And the favorite.
You know, you'd be shocked how perceptions over that sort of thing change when one party is dead. You've walked on water since that accident.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I was a little envious.
You got on, though.
I left. Got a shitty teaching job, published, worked my way up to increasingly less shitty teaching jobs.
Classics.
Yeah, I know.
I'd never understand it.
Things make more sense in Latin.
Is that your line?
It is. I don't know. When you're in a specialty and people ask you why you're interested in it, they don't want you to go into the details of the profession. They want a one-liner, a quip that gets the whole dinner party chortling. And I've been in the field a decade at this point, and I'm still waiting for it to come to me. You never needed that fucking bio major.
You forget my short but distinguished career as an English major.
Yeah, that was a good semester for you. Well,
Brother's phone rings, perhaps slightly louder than is comfortable.
Pick it up.
An uncomfortable silence as he lets it go to voicemail.
Who is this woman that keeps calling you?
she's my fiance.
Oh my heavens, miracles do occur.
All right. That was unnecessary.
I'm sorry. I'm in a little bit of a state of shock. Women were never really your thing. Who is she? Is she of sound body and mind?
Yes. I mean, I don't know. Her name's Chrissy. We've been dating for 5 years now.
Chrissy.
Yeah?
I don't like her name.
Okay.
How did you two meet?
At a university function.
All right, now this is beginning to track. She's not also a godforsaken academic, is she?
She's an accountant.
Sorry I asked.
The world needs accountants.
So it seems. So it seems. So what do you like about her?
That's a broad question.
What's the first thing you noticed about her?
She has a scar on her cheek.
Really?
Yeah,
That's the first thing you.
honest truth. It's the first thing I said to her. Some wildly banal math teacher introduced us, and that was the first thing I could think to blurt out. Not exactly tactful, and yet here we are.
Very you. Where's it from?
What?
Scar.
Knife fight?
Really?
Of course not. What kind of women do you attract? It was a kitchen accident.
Much better.
I don't appreciate the Inquisition, though.
Oh, come on.
No. Not from the king of the coy smile and the evading response. I know you remember every break home from college. Oh, you're such a handsome young man. The women must be falling over you. And you smiled and you joked, but not a single straight answer.
What makes you think there's a straight answer?
See, that what does that mean? You said words and they fit together in a grammatical sense, and yet they said absolutely nothing.
It's an art.
Yes.
There were girls.
Yeah, I figured. You just didn't want to tell anyone about them.
I, unlike some people, could lead different lives and not find them incongruous.
What the hell does that mean?
You went off to college and never came back.
Fuck you.
Eloquent. You hurt them. You know. They were scared to send me off. Afraid they'd lose me too.
Well, clearly they should have been.
They never had much hope for you romantically. Whole fiance thing is a shock. Though, I suppose they'd be happy. Always wanted grandkids. Would have been nice to have a little less pressure on that end, honestly. They had hope for me.
End of Act 1. Act 2. Confrontation. Honor Society. Looking through yearbooks.
You were in an honor society?
So were you.
I'd forgotten.
Of course you had. It's a useless organization.
Weren't you president?
Bet your ass. I got into Honor Society. I was elected president of Honor Society, and then I was kicked out of Honor Society. And I am so proud of all three.
You would be.
What were you, the fucking secretary?
Treasurer.
Figures. Hated that organization with a passion. I don't get it. I never got what we were honoring.
Intelligence.
Superiority. Honoring intelligence, it's so vague.
Being intelligent?
Yeah. It's not the same as being good at math or literature or things that had their own slightly less ridiculous honor societies. It's just intelligence. I mean, quantify that.
IQ?
That's not a real thing, though. It's just a number. It says absolutely nothing about how you experience the world or what you're like, or even if you have any potential as a human being. It's
Vague?
exactly.
I have to tell you, the whole constant state of rebellion really runs thin by the time you're about 20.
I know. I was reliably informed from a young age what my perspective would be later in life and what things were foolish looking back. Ironically, it's become sort of a moot point.
Becoming. A moment of understanding, a pivotal moment.
I don't understand.
What?
Where we split, where our lives started going in different directions.
You know, I was at this party once.
Is this how all your stories start?
Shush! I was at this party, at this dance, one of the school-sponsored ones. Shit. Famously so. And everyone's drunk off of their asses and crammed into this god-awful gym. This fucking meat grinder. You ever think of the anatomy of dances? Like, you ever walk into a room just jam-packed with humans and think, how did we get here? Obviously someone showed up first. Several people? Were the lights already low? The music already fucking blasting? Is that the sort of thing that ramps up? I don't know. I never showed up to parties on time. Well, once. After that, never again. Everyone always dances around the edges, you know, with their friends, repudiated by this wall of flesh. We were in a corner when this lanky brunette chemistry major bursts in from the great horde and grabbed my friend, my lover at the time, by the hand and pulled her into the crowd. She grabbed my hand and pulled me along too, and so there we were. 3 idiotic, wasted sophomores snaking through this auditorium till we get front and center of the crowd. The DJs were right there. The speakers were in our fucking faces. We couldn't hear a thing. It felt like the entire room was shaking, undulating around us, but we were at the center of it all. Fulcrum. I'd never felt that way before. That central. And I'm pretty sure all of us threw up multiple times later that night, and I couldn't hear for like a week, but I don't think I regret a second of it. And with years of better judgment, reflecting on the event, I think it was a point of divergence in my life. I could have stayed on the edges of things in my corner, in my place, or I could let myself get pulled into the center, into the middle of things.
Do you regret it?
Not a second.
You know, they did a tox report with your autopsy. Our parents hid it away. They didn't want me to see.
Why not?
Come on. I'm still their son. I had 2 degrees at that point, but I was still their little boy.
So what did you do?
I went downstairs at 3 a.m. and I cracked it open. It's not like they locked it away or anything.
What did you find?
Alcohol, marijuana,
Tell it all.
cocaine.
There we go. I think what my life would have been like if I had gone down that other path. If my friend hadn't come out of the crowd, or if I hadn't followed, might have cost the relationship. Who cares? Honestly. And you know what? I wouldn't have it any other way. I wouldn't.
Dissatisfaction. Ghost and brother sit in the kitchen.
I am reaching that time in my life in which friends get married. Apparently, this time period is a tradition, reaching quite a long way back. as my parents at least once every 3 months reminisce about this time in their lives. Note that I didn't say this is the time in my life where my friends should be getting married. They shouldn't. I've attended more weddings than I can remember at this point, and I can count on one hand the amount I felt genuinely good about. I mean, don't get me wrong, the majority, at least, were beautiful ceremonies, and for some significant amount, I even held out hope for a lasting and successful relationship. But so few felt right. Like, really, really like the next step for this relationship, for those people. The rest, no, not the rest. But so many are just settling. They're scared they'll never find true love, whatever that means. So they find someone they love enough to get through the days together. And they're scared of being alone. Not even forever, but just at the end of the night, to have to sit back in the dark and be with only themselves. And this is not a condemnation. It's not. I know those fears, and maybe if things had gone differently, I would be making those same choices my friends did.
The second coming. An unexpected knock draws brother to the door. Ghost is drawn to the neutral space, examining something large and unseen.
Oh, Father,
Hello.
I didn't know God made house calls.
Oh, no. This isn't like that.
Not trying to convert me?
You don't seem like the type that needs religion.
I'm not.
Yeah, I picked up that much.
Sorry, I don't know if that's offensive.
Not really. In fact, as non-religious offspring dealing with their parents' strict Catholic instructions, you did better than most.
Thanks.
You're not angry?
No,
Most people are.
there's never been a gap in my life that religion or lack of religion, whatever, filled. I've never particularly needed direction in my life, and at the end of the day, I've never been too concerned about death.
Really?
I mean, scared of dying? Yeah, I'm only human. When I'm on a high ledge or almost get run over by a car, I'm scared. But the anxiety over what comes after has just always felt so foreign that I could never really be concerned over it. And that's your whole department, isn't it?
I've always thought how religion teaches us, shows consideration of the next life as a healthy way to view how we live now, to drive us towards something.
I've always been driven. To a fault, really. I wasn't on good terms with my parents.
I know.
What are you? Their priest? Sorry. Bad joke. I think at a certain point, it felt like they were getting in the way of things. Things I wanted to accomplish. And at some point, they were just another one of the problems. That's how I chose to deal with it.
By avoiding them.
Indefinitely.
You know, there is a lot in the Bible about forgiveness.
I know. I've read it in the original Latin.
So have I.
Really?
Priests are academics too.
One of my colleagues was writing a paper on depictions of angels. Asked me for translation help.
Many-eyed creatures. They're interesting, aren't they?
Do you really believe all of that?
Literally? I don't think it matters as much. I get what they were going for, the majesty of heaven.
Plans.
What were you going to be when you grew up?
What?
I just,
You know. Doctor. Why?
I was just thinking, you're the same age as my students. What would I think if you were in my class?
You think I would be caught dead in a classics course?
No, I mean,
I would probably have been trying to fill some godforsaken distributional requirement.
that's not what I see so many bright young things come in, not just with ambition, but with plans, real hard set ideas about what their life is going to be and what they need to get there. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm not. But there's a rigidity to it. And I see that sometimes it just doesn't suit them. I see those students sometimes with a spark or the beginning of a spark somewhere unexpected in something they'd never considered. And most just brush it off. It's their right after all, but some don't. Some pursue it into unknowns and unprofitable fields. And they don't know what they're doing because they haven't prepared for it, but they're just along for the ride. I don't know. I sometimes wonder which lot's happier.
What's your point?
We didn't just mourn you. We mourned the doctor. We mourned everything you were going to be, the potential. But that's so much more. If you had that spark gone off on a different path, that's a different person going onwards. I'm mourning some infinite amount of you.
Breakdown. The brother stares off into the distance, then breaks down almost entirely. Something that's been coming for a long time.
Oh. Oh, dear.
The ghost doesn't know how to console people. Brother continues to sob. Maybe pat his back. No reaction.
My God, I think he's burst. All right. Okay. It's all right. You dumb motherfucker.
Ghost pulls him closer into a hug. Brother registers the closeness. Beat. Stillness. Ghost stares out beyond the horizon. As memories begin to take over, we hear Ghost in a girl's voice. Ghost hears them, brother does not.
All right. Okay. You're all right.
Girl laughs.
Are you all right?
Fantastic. I could dance right now.
Let's just focus on sitting upright first, shall we?
Spoil sport.
I know.
Kiss me.
I don't think so.
Oh, come on.
Sorry.
You know, someday you're going to have to open yourself up to someone.
You're drunk.
So you know I'm not lying.
I'm not sure that's how they... Thanks.
You're one of the good ones, Teddy.
Don't call me that.
Back to the present. Another phone call, another interruption.
Duty calls.
Confession. Ghost and brother.
There's a question you've not been asking.
Oh yeah? What's that?
Where were you when I died?
That's not even a question. You know where I was. Grad school. I was off at grad school.
And when did you come back?
2 weeks later for the funeral.
Did you see me?
It was a closed casket. Were you there?
No. What did they tell you?
What do you mean?
About the death?
What was there to tell?
How did I die?
What?
How?
It was an accident. Your car, it was. What more is there to say? Is that the question? Is that the question?
The ghost has a gun in his hands. Brother reacts. The ghost has the gun cradled in open hands, almost offering. He advances.
Don't worry. Won't bite. Touch it. Go on. Touch it.
He can't.
You can.
Brother touches it tentatively.
Hold out your hands.
Brother does, almost automatically. Ghost places his hands on top of his brother's, then slides them out, depositing the gun in Brother's hands. The ghost sucker punches him, causing Brother to fall. The ghost follows him to the ground, keeping close physically.
How did I die?
I don't.
The ghost punches him again.
How? How?
Fed up, the ghost grabs the hand Brother has the gun in, pulls it towards his face. Brother resists. Ghost maneuvers the gun into his own mouth, not breaking eye contact with his brother. Brother tries to look away.
Look at me.
He grabs his brother's face, forces him to look. Ghost spits out the gun. He stands up, leaving his brother a mess on the floor. Act 3. Repentance. Encounter. Ghost sits alone amid the crowded stage, perhaps looking at an old book. A crash off stage. The fiancé enters with some raucous fanfare.
Hello.
Hi.
Can I help you?
Sorry, is James here?
He went out. Why?
I'm James's girlfriend. Is he here?
Oh. Oh, no.
Sorry?
Nothing.
He was expecting me, wasn't he?
I don't know. He didn't mention it.
Sorry, you are...
Theo. I'm an old friend. We went to high school together.
Oh, that's wonderful. James doesn't talk about his home much.
Doesn't surprise me.
Theo. That's an old-fashioned sort of name.
The family one.
I like it. It suits your character.
Thanks. So, James says you're an accountant.
Oh, yes. It's what pays the bills.
Not your calling.
Not exactly. What do you do?
Not much lately. James has told me a lot about you.
Oh, yeah?
All good. Don't worry.
Oh, I'm not that worried.
My God, you are confident.
And?
I like it. God knows James needs it.
How long have you known James?
Oh, we go way back.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. You two met in college?
We did. Did he tell you the story?
He did. It's a good time to meet someone. College. I always got told meeting people after gets a lot harder.
Yeah, you spent 4 years complaining about being all crammed together, and then the decade after complaining that you never see anyone anymore.
Brother enters.
Oh, my God.
James,
What are you doing here?
you tell me. You're not returning my calls.
I I'm sorry about that. The last couple days have been a lot.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I really am.
I was just chatting with your friend.
She turns to where the ghost was. He's still there, giving a judgmental look to his brother, but the fiancé can't see him.
Who appears to have left spontaneously.
Friend? Oh, you met him.
Yeah, he seemed nice.
He's a little erratic.
Ghost rolls his eyes and exits.
I took a couple days off.
You didn't need to do that.
Oh, please, they've been piling up.
Okay.
Have you eaten?
No.
Great. Want takeout?
That sounds great.
Good, because I already picked some up. It's cold, though.
There's a microwave in the other room.
We need to talk.
I know.
The fiancé exits. Ghost reappears.
Give me that look.
So, where's your fiance?
That was her.
Didn't seem to be her impression of the whole situation.
Well, I haven't actually proposed yet.
You know, that's a fairly big thing.
I'm going to, though. And I don't know, when I made that decision, just calling her, that made it feel so much more real.
So do it.
What, here? In my dead parents' house?
In your childhood home.
The occasion of my parents' death.
That's not the problem here. The problem, as always, is that you're too weak to confront what's before you.
Do not do that.
Do what?
Equate that.
Fuck you.
No, fuck you. This is, don't stick what were your problems onto mine. And don't think to blame me for things you did. I'm sorry. Theo, wait.
The ghost disappears. The talk. Fiancé and brother awkwardly pack. A long silence. The ghost appears in the background, only visible to the brother, carrying a small box. He throws it at brother's head. The fiancé looks up.
Are you all right?
Oh, yeah, something fell on me.
What is it?
Oh, no, nothing. Just more old stuff.
He puts the box down away from him.
So, what's been up with you?
What do you mean?
You're almost 30. You don't ghost people at our age.
No. I know it wasn't right. It's just this place,
Regressing a little.
I guess. I don't know. I don't even have fond memories of home. Me and them hadn't gotten along in so long.
You sound 16.
I hate this town. It was never the right fit for me, but when you're the son of pillars of the community, that sort of stuff doesn't really get heard.
So,
What?
you don't live here anymore.
Why do I feel like I'm gonna miss it?
When was the last time you were here?
Christmas, I guess.
I mean, for an extended stay.
College, probably.
Have you considered that you've continued to grow and change as a person since then?
Not particularly.
James,
I never figured I'd be the sort of person to fit in here.
how do you mean?
Domestic. Insular. With that small town feel.
Domestic? Finally thinking about settling down?
Yeah. Figured we need to stop hitting the town every night.
Oh, God.
No more classic department keggers for us.
Next, you're going to propose to me.
You would be so lucky.
You would.
I would. But I do have a little more taste than to do it in my dead parents' house.
Let's go out.
For what?
I don't know. A bite to eat. You just need to get out of this house for a while. Besides, I want you to show me around.
All right.
All right.
Repentance. Brother enters in the neutral space, looking at something looming above him. Ghost enters in the house, searches for the brother. Ghost crosses the threshold to the neutral space, joining the brother.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
They actually did it.
Yeah.
Full replica. All that for me.
I guess so.
That's quite something.
It certainly is.
I don't like it.
What?
I don't like it. What? Why are you laughing?
Do you have any idea how much work mom and dad put into this? How much fucking money?
Sound like them.
Yeah, they made it special. Not a reconstruction or a mold or anything. A full new work. For you.
You know what's funny? It was sort of a joke. You know, those jokes that you know are jokes, but that you believe?
It is beautiful.
It is. Looking at it now, it feels out of place.
Wasn't that the point?
Maybe. Did you ever hate me?
Of course not.
Really?
No.
I mean, I was pretty hateable. Seriously, I have a punchable face.
You do. You really do. I never hated you. I didn't.
You disliked me,
We're brothers.
but you never hated me.
No.
You know what's off about it? It's too perfect.
Is it?
It's got all its limbs, you know? Doesn't seem weathered or anything.
It's complete. As it would have been.
When?
Ancient Greece?
I wasn't alive back then. Were you?
Oh, come on. Are you saying you regret it?
Maybe. Maybe I am.
See, now you see the benefit of the status quo.
What do you mean?
How many people do you think regret their graves?
Oh, any number, really. I think it's a great deal more regret their lives.
Maybe.
Do you have any regrets
What?
about life?
I think I accepted somewhere along the way that life is very finite. Now, you have to make choices. And no matter how much you reason with it or how much you trust your gut, there is a real possibility that you'll get it wrong. That's okay. You can't go back. You can't fix it. You just have to live with it.
Imperfections.
Not even, just mistakes. Just a life lived not as it ought to be. I think it's just accepting the fact that no matter how much you'd like to, you'll never be able to love everyone you should. Try every vocation you could. Everything you'll dedicate your life to. And you don't even get to decide. You so rarely know in a moment that it's going to be important. It's just guesswork. Chance. And at a point, you just have to get on with it. Make those choices. Love someone. Do something with your life. What's the worst that can happen? You waste your life? I think somewhere along the way, I lost the idea that there was someone I was supposed to be with or something I was supposed to do, to achieve. I'm just here, trying to make the best of it. So, regrets?
You're not very sentimental.
No, guess not.
So are you going to marry her?
I think so. I think I really might.
That's good. I'm happy for you.
You're not even here right now.
Says who?
Me? Laws of the universe? You're not here, you're there.
How'd they do it? They just like tip the ashes in a bucket or something?
There's an urn.
So what happens now?
I go home, I guess. Back to my apartment. Back to the university. Back to Chrissy.
Home?
Home. I'm tired. I hate this place. I really do. Always did.
So did I. And I got out and stayed out. Where did I end up? Right back fucking here. It's ridiculous.
Where else would you be?
I don't know. I figured I'd be cremated. Who would want an open casket with how everything ended? I like the idea of being spread somewhere. An ocean or something.
An ocean?
Yeah.
We're in the Midwest. Where the fuck were we going to find an ocean? The best you could have gotten was a larger than average lake.
Oh God, I never would have forgiven you.
I cannot believe you.
Of course not.
You got a fucking statue. An entire replica of a Greek statue in the middle of a deeply conservative, largely Christian graveyard, which you don't even like.
I don't not like it. It's striking. I'll give it that. Do people stare?
With confusion, generally.
Good. That was sort of the idea. Do you have plans for your grave?
I don't really care. I'm going right there. Last spot in the family plot. I thought maybe an Irish cross.
Nice. Classy.
Yeah. I should go. Everything's settled. Everything was settled days ago.
Coda. Brother enters with luggage. Ghost is sitting around pensive.
The bags are packed. Classes start in a couple weeks. Need to do final prep. I always like the start of the school year. New beginnings. We thought we'd come back one weekend. Take the last of the things.
I won't be here.
Okay.
The ghost produces the small box again, offering it.
You should have it. Get some use out of it.
I don't know.
Take it. If nothing else, it's a beautiful ring.
I love you.
I love you too. Be safe now.
Fiancé appears at the door, begins to exit. Brother goes to her. They pause at the edge. Brother stops, looking back at the house. They exit together. The ghost gets up, looks around a little, looking to either exit, moving toward the one opposite where he first entered. He exits. Blackout.
And that's the show. This is. Remember when I said it'd run an hour?
Just a smidge over.
Yeah. Ooh. That's a lot. Yeah. Audience members, if you want to turn your video back on, you can. Yeah, just how'd it sound? What did y'all think?
I thought it was great.
Been working on it for a little while now. Whew.
That was awesome. Thank you for doing this.
Tom, do you have any questions for the audience specifically to kind of prompt them and get their questions flowing?
Yeah, to peel back the curtain a little bit, we've been this is the finale of a number of rehearsals, of which a lot of questions have been asked. I'd say just to start out quite generally, what just sort of sticks in people's heads from the play, thematically, character-wise, and what they took away, really. Were there characters people liked, disliked, felt kinship to?
I'll say something. I liked how you integrated the theme about you know, like the whole like no regrets and then like the moving on, but also like clinging on to the past. I think that was integrated well throughout. Yeah. Hmm.
For what it's worth, I agree.
I really just like the relationship you have written between the two brothers. I think, especially during this run, it like really came out just like the like love and respect, but also that kind of like brotherly hatred is definitely there. And I think, yeah, the ghost character just always like just stands out to me. Yeah.
It should be noted, I hope it came out at some point, but the ghost was originally intended to be male. Blame Liv for giving such a good audition. And also, I always find it interesting working before an actual production to sort of question those basic details about characters. I think one of the first things we said about the ghost was it's a very Gen Z ghost. It's not too fussed about the whole dying thing.
Yeah,
Bryn.
Oh, I just have a question for you, Tom.
Oh, yeah.
I thought the dialogue was really great and really, I mean, I guess playwriting is like a lot of dialogue, but I think dialogue for any writer is a super hard thing to get right and to feel natural. And I thought it flowed really well, and yeah, I was really impressed by this in general. And I just wanted to, what are your tips for writing dialogue, or how do you approach dialogue?
Ooh, that's a big one. I think it's a multiplicity of things. For me, it comes out of my background. I was a dancer before I was an actor, before I was a playwright. So I've always had a contentious relationship with dialogue as a thing. I've always loved and done a lot of plays that are like as silent as they can be. So first thing is stripping away all dialogue that doesn't absolutely need to be there. The other thing was just observing how people talk a lot. My parents are in the room, so they can agree that I didn't really talk until I was maybe a sophomore in high school, but I was always there just listening. So that helps and sounds very creepy. And yeah, and then you just have to write like 2 plays that are absolute crap and figure out what doesn't work. But yeah, I think at a very basic note, it goes back to sort of very classic Stanislavski, what people want, how they're saying it, and how that goes awry. How sometimes you say what you don't mean, or the opposite of what you mean.
Is there any scenes that like stand out to anyone specifically? Any moments?
well, not necessarily like specific moments, but this time going through, I guess I was really struck by like the way that religion is sort of intertwined with this narrative. How there seems to be, at least on the brothers' part, a lot of doubt about religion, and the ghost doesn't seem to care that much. But like the way the priest is sort of woven through and helping answer some of those questions, but also pointing out some of the things that don't seem very logical, like the fact that, you know, the brother can't actually read at his parents' funeral. And I don't know if this was related, but sort of it seemed implied to me that parents didn't want to reveal that their son had committed suicide, and to me it seemed that that might be partly related to some sort of religious stigma. So that was something I thought was really interesting and quite subtly done.
I really appreciated the dynamic between the two brothers, just the way that they communicated with each other, where it was this constant like joking and then fighting and then joking and then fighting to some extent. And like, I have two sisters, and I feel like you really accurately captured how sibling relationships work. And every scene where the two siblings were interacting and having big conversations and incorporating that dynamic, it just added so much to the impact and to the communication of the message.
Definitely. And like you captured that dialogue so perfectly that I cried multiple times during this performance because it felt so real. So
yeah, you're my first brother, man. It was great.
Those two were great together.
Do we get to comment, Tom's parents?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you ready, Thomas? Actually, these are comments we made before to you. First, I just have to say the acting tonight was superlative. I mean, what exceptional people you got to read this. It was really made it very believable. And I do think that you do have a real talent with dialogue, and I think these actors really made that happen. So my 2 points, which I'm pretty sure I said to you before, 2 questions. One is, I feel like the character of the fiance is a little shallow.
Yeah.
Kind of in a Dickensian mode, you know, the female character is not as well developed and interesting as she should be. So I'd encourage you to do more with that. The second piece is there's a lack of relationship between the main character and his parents, and I'm curious about that.
Uh-oh.
Do you want to weigh in on that?
No, I don't know anything about that.
And I think you did that for a deliberate reason. I think you wanted to focus more on the relationship between the brothers. Do you want to say a little more about that?
Yeah, there have been certain in our first meetings, I sort of challenged Will to break the script. And what that amounted to was finding the places the script was lacking. There are definite holes in characters, and the ones those are most evident in are the parents, who obviously can't show up on stage, but need more than one scene each to just show what they need to. We did definitely find an estrangement with the brother and his parents, which is semi-intended. It comes off much more purposeful, I think, when it's less explained than I intended it. Sort of was starting out with they aren't in contact, but that's not because like they hate each other. It's just the neutrality, which is almost worse somehow. The fiance, on the other hand, is definitely just underdeveloped, and it comes from having time to write and just needing more pages with her. But that is definitely one of the major places of revision going forward. She's really meant to be a sort of third act complication. So what I'm hoping for is by the end of the second act, even once everything is laid bare, all there is to reconcile. but with the introduction of the fiance, it's not just to reconcile, it's to force a path forward. So it becomes less a just ending of this point of your life, but a shift into the next one, which is for the brother proposing to his, fiance.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's kind of the issue of the character being a believable and fully formed character versus the character just as a plot device, kind of moving action forward. So just as a psychologist, I would say one observation is people often say the cliche that you marry your father or your mother, right? But we psychologists say that you really end up often marrying your sibling. So I wonder about some parallels you might draw were you to further flesh out the character of the fiance between the fiance and the brother. Anyway, just an observation. I thought you did a wonderful job. Thanks for including us tonight. Can't wait to see the finished product.
Should be noted. Just for the record, I've written 3. This is my 3rd play, as well as a 10-minute one, and yes, parents have a higher than average mortality rate, and it's been mentioned every time.
We've noticed that.
Yeah.
Good to you.
Actually, I think parents have the same mortality rate as everybody else does, which is complete.
Yep. As a physician, I can certify that is correct. We're all headed for the same place.
I actually have a running joke because I either die or I'm dead in almost every play I've ever been in. So my mortality rate is particularly high or low. What?
Not high.
Same thing for a stretch of plays there.
But on the topic of that, given that I did play as the fiance, that was the case, sure, but there is still solid work there, and I think that you still did a really great job given everything. And sure, there can be work done, but there can always be more work done with characterization and whatnot. So thanks for that opportunity. Yeah.
Tom, you said that the parents, since they are deceased in the play, they can't be in the play, but I think you could explore it. I mean, you're already working with ghosts. There is no reason you can't have more. And I know, like, you want to focus on the sibling relationship, which, on a side note, I do think that could be a brother-sister sibling relationship too, if you want to lean that way. It worked very well. I don't think the gender really matters. But yeah, I think more ghosts. I always like ghosts.
More of everything.
Well, I know this has already been said, but I did think this was very well cast. Liv, I was really impressed. Like, I guess I'd only seen you play Lisa, which is quite a different character, but I was really impressed by like your interpretation of this ghost character and how expressive you were and how well you paced it, even like over Zoom when it's so hard to like be expressive. And Tosh, I was really impressed by the like variation in your characters. They were each distinct, which was really cool. And Jacob, of course, I thought you were quite well cast, and it's actually really cool, even just since we were reading it together not long ago, to see how much, like, I don't know, you came to embody this character. I'm sure we'll talk more about it soon.
I appreciate that, Bryn. It's definitely hard to act over Zoom while like sitting down. I'm glad to hear that it came across.
Oh, that's
Yeah, there's so much energy that's lost in like being able to stand up and also just being able to like see everybody else and
I
that
was
sort of
gonna
like
say.
connection that you can have.
Right. Like as soon as I start talking, brother shrinks into the small screen and then I can't play off of him. Yeah, that's a challenge. It's a Corona era challenge.
I eventually had to like go into speaker view and then move that like little bar to the top of my screen, and that way I could like actually see you while I was reading the lines as well. But I only figured that out like 3/4 of the way through. So.
I also felt like my eyes were just dodging to the other side of my camera the whole time because I was looking at the script.
Yeah, the technical details, as always, are insane. No, about half of them, but it's the way theater is and has to be now for foreseeable future. And I think the adaptation has been admirable.
Tom, I really look forward to seeing this production on its feet or participating in this production on its feet. But it seems like you're casting yourself as Ghost.
I've been given too much power. Yeah, that was an interesting. It was interesting. I was really lucky that I got to work with Will, who knows my work very well, having worked on almost every play I've produced. And one of the conversations we had early on was finding your own voice as a playwright in each character. And the observation is sometimes you can obviously tell which character the playwright sees themselves as, and sometimes you see their voice consistently throughout the entire script. And I went into this from my proposal onwards, before I had written most of it, saying I will be acting in this, but I hadn't decided until recently which role I was thinking of taking up. So I think that was incredibly helpful in making all of them well-rounded characters.
I want to know which title people prefer.
Yes.
Oh.
If I should die.
Mind saying them again?
The option number 1 is If I Should Die. Option number 2 is The Lost Generation. Option 3 is Commonplace. Option 4 is Eulogies. And option 5 is A Cold Eye.
Will, make a poll, make a poll.
If I Should Die.
I agree with
Definitely.
A cold
Yeah.
eye cast a cold.
I have an honorable answer. I think.
I know, I figured out, I don't think I can do A Cold Eye just on principle because only English majors get it. And I won't stand for that in my plays.
Yates.
Yeah. If I Should Die was the first one I came up with. I've just been like deliberating because it always sounds just a little bit too like, I don't know, dramatic or something. I don't know. I can't put into words what I don't like about it. But
English majors would also get The Lost Generation, wouldn't they?
all right, we're cutting that one too. And that one clear. Whew.
I can't remember the right. Oh, yeah, Gertrude Stein. That's the name she gave to the post-war generation in Paris, post-World War I.
Apparently, she got it from a gas station attendant who was berating one of his young employees, who said that they were all a generation perdu.
Oh, that's right. Yes. And Hemingway thought it was bunk, but you know.
It's Hemingway for you.
Yeah.
Okay, well. This has been fantastic and drug on far longer than I expected it to.
Tom, was this a script I have, or is this a revision of the script I have?
It's a slight revision.
Would you mind sending it? Would you mind sending it to me?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd like to thank I think the two people who showed up who are not directly involved in some way in this reading. Bryn and the other one left. Thank you to the actors. They've been wonderful. And Will, who is his usual magnanimous self.
Still don't know what that word means.
I do enjoy throwing random qualifiers on you, Will. It's not as good as ignominious, but
I must say though, Tom, I love your use of magnanimous. When I received the email from you signed magnanimously, my heart warmed and jumped with joy.
they will get worse. The first time I directed a play, The Victorian Youth, my sophomore year, we kept a god counter, which was every time I referred to myself as some sort of deity. But yeah, I'm not sure if I'm proud about that. I don't think I am. Anyway, to those of you who will be working with me further on this project, good luck. And I have homework to do, so I think we will call that here. Look for auditions, 10th week. Look for emails from me. That will come sporadically. And to Finn, I guess.
Thank you very much.